In a country blessed with fertile lands and abundant natural resources, the irony bites hard. Millions of Nigerians still go to bed hungry. From skyrocketing food prices to declining productivity in rural areas, we are facing a full-blown food crisis. To declining, we are facing the always be solution lies closer to the people of grassroots. Drive a new era of agricultural productivity? Can they support smallholder farmers, revive abandoned farmland, and create localized food chains that make food more accessible and affordable? Well, this is where I welcome you to Politics Uncensored, the space where Nigeria's most pressing issues are stripped down and served raw. Today, we turn our lens to something that touches every home, every table, every child, and that is food. But not just food, food security, and more importantly, the role local governments can play in safeguarding it. Our goal will always be to provide a platform for open and honest discussions where experts and everyday citizens can share their perspectives and insights. It's your favorite show, and we have two expert guests who will be joining us very soon. I'm your host, Okikiola Taiwo Jalokmo. You can call me the polyhumanitarian. I'm here to make political discussions accessible to you all. We want to hear from you because every episode is all about you. So be a part of the conversations every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to add your voice to these discussions. You can also head on to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. Hit that subscribe button, like, share the link, and invite your friends to join the show. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms showing right now on the screen. If you want to call us, our phone lines are open to you. You can call us on 070-2500-7749 and 070-142420. Let's hear what you have to say. We'll go on a break right now and we'll return with our guests and take our top stories in the political space making headlines. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. You are still watching Politics Uncensored, and today we're here to discuss food security through local government-led agriculture. This is a conversation that we hear mostly with federal-level issues, being associated with federal-level issues. But today, we're digging into the roots of a crisis that affects every family, every market store, every pot on fire in this country, the rising cost of food and the growing fear of hunger. But while the nation looks to federal solutions, we're asking a different question. Can Nigeria achieve food security from the ground up, starting at the local government level? Nigeria has of hunger. From the ground up, starting at the local government level. Nigeria closer to the people, farmlands revived, jobs created, local markets thriving, hunger reduced. So why aren't local governments leading the change or the charge in agriculture? Is it a question of political will, capacity, or misplaced priorities? Or have we simply failed to see the power that lies within our communities? Joining me today to unpack these questions and more, we have Prince Wale Oyekoya, who is the agricultural consultant to the Ogun State Governor, a seasoned voice in the policy space. We also have Bamidele Ayemibo, who is the lead consultant at 3T Impacts Consulting, a specialist in trade and agricultural development with a global outlook. And this isn't just a conversation about farming. It's about power, poverty, and the politics of what we eat. So right now, let's get into this conversation. Welcome, Prince Wale and Bamidele.
Nice for having me. Afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon. Welcome here. So before we go into our topic for today, we usually try to give our own perspectives of part of the trending news or political briefs making headlines in today's newspaper. So I'm going to read a story that captured my attention this morning and then hear your own perspective about it. And it reads, federal government eyes Voltex to boost food and energy production. The Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Nnaji, has said that the federal government remains committed to driving agrivoltaic farming to boost food and energy protection in the country. Nnaji said this in Abuja on Tuesday at the maiden international agrivoltaic workshop and official unveiling of the book titled Democratizing the Sun, Agrivoltaics and the Future of Farming in Nigeria and Africa. The news agency of Nigeria on Wednesday reports that agrivoltaic farming, also known as agri-solar, is the practice of integrating solar panel systems. It involves growing crops, allowing for simultaneous food and energy production. The event was also organized by Lipichu for Food, Energy and Water Sustainability Foundation in collaboration with the University of Abuja. The theme of the workshop was titled Agrivoltaics and Climate Resilient Agriculture in Nigeria and Africa. But the conversation is more into him saying that the event embodies the kind of innovation-led, climate-smart and community-driven approach that is central to the ministry's agenda for national transformation. According to him, the Ministry of Innovation is committed to driving Nigeria's transition to a diversified, knowledge-based economy through strategic innovation. He says we aim to harness indigenous capacity, promote green industrialization and enable technologies that improves lives. He's saying that agrivoltaics, the combination of solar energy, harvesting and agricultural productivity, stands as a model solution that demonstrates how we can optimize land use, generate clean energy, and ensure food security and build a resilient climate for everyone. He has mentioned how our country is blessed and says that they have a couple of solar farms across the country where plants have already been incorporated into energy generation. And so he is saying that they are collaborating with tertiary institutions for science, technology, and innovation-based community, which can impact around solar energy, food production, and a whole lot of them, and developing enabling policy and regulated environment for innovation. This is, I would say, a plus for Nigeria, but it still brings the question of how viable is this idea? How viable is this meetup that they have done? They've said that this has already started, but it seems that sometimes when the good things are happening in Nigeria or the subtle things are happening in Nigeria, these things don't make the headlines for us to be informed of how to, be a part of that innovation. And that's why this topic and this conversation had to be had today, where we have to bring everything down to the grassroots. But starting first with Prince Wale, for someone who is the consultant for the Ogun State Governor on Agriculture, what do you think about Prince Wale, for someone who is the consultant for the Ogun State Governor on
And I think it's the first time we are going to have a president that has a vision and a mission to improve on agriculture. And you will bear me witness that we never gone this far for agriculture to be very mechanic in terms of mechanizations, bringing tractors and all kind of implements to boost the agricultural sector. Yes, but never mind, we always say that why do we concentrate mostly on the federal when we have the states? And why do we have to concentrate mostly on the states when we have the local governments? And they always say politics is local. So why can't we take the agricultural sector into the local sector like the local government? Because I was just doing an analysis with what you just said about the agrivoltaics to boost food and energy production. Both of them have to go hand in hand, because without energy, there won't be no food. Without food, there won't be no energy.
Absolutely.
I was just doing my mathematics. If about 774 local governments we have in Nigeria were given the opportunity, the power to even employ just about 10,000 people in their local government, that's over 7 million employment that is being created yearly. If over almost 10 million people are taken over from the employment pool in the country, you will know what that means in terms of economic development in the country. Nonetheless, it's going to increase our IGR. It's going to increase the youth employment. You have to know right now that most of our women is what we have in the agricultural sector. We need to improve on our youths also. And through this agrivoltaics, which is technology, definitely we are going to enroll more of the youths to come into the agricultural sector. So to me, I think with the president that we have and with the energy that most of the state governments are putting in the agricultural sector, I think food security have come to stay with the energy that most of the state governments and we have now in the agricultural.
From Bamidele too.
It's a good initiative. You know, our low-hanging fruit in Nigeria today to be able to reduce the challenge we are facing with FX is agric. If we get agric right, you know, I always like to use the example of the fact that when you check the top exportable agro commodity in the world, Nigeria rank among most of them. Low 30% of our agri produce price are preserved losses. We have insecurity on the farm. We have 75% of our farmers being peasant. No enough funding for farming. We are irrigated farming, rain season farming. With all these shortcomings, we are still having among the top producers in the world. That for me is a good news. Meaning, if you can begin to get it right like this, you know, I also saw a news of the Minister of Agric saying they want to grow, I think, over 400,000 metric tons of for soybeans, which I've advocated for years as a major foreign exchange earner. So I think it's a good initiative. My desire is for it to be sustained, because, you know, sometimes we start a good initiative, but we are unable to sustain it. So my desire would be that it will be sustained.
So yeah, I hope same also. I hope that these initiatives would be sustained, because we've seen even the governor of Bayelsa, you know, implore his local government chairman to start investing in agriculture, start to look at them owning farmlands, and also, you know, partnering with small farm holders to start to provide food security, and even start to explore other things like fruit, like fish, you know, like other things that Nigeria requires. It's such a good news to see that Nigeria is still part of the top, but still, imagine if everything goes right for us. It means that we're going to have enough and still, you know, more to even give out in that sense in return for investment and, you know, the betterment of the country. But thank you very much for that input that Prince Wale and, of course, Bamidele gave. We'll go on a quick break, and then, of course, we'll return with our hot topic for today. So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying tuned. You are still watching Politics Uncensored. And if you just tuned in, this is why we are here. We are discussing how we can attain food security through local government-led agriculture. And we still have Prince Wale and Bamidele here. For Prince Wale, I would like to ask you, you know, as an advisor to a state governor, how would you assess the level of agricultural engagement and investment, especially at the local government level across Nigeria today?
Well, there's a lot of improvement compared to the previous administrations, right from the time of Operation Feed the Nation, Green Revolutions, with the New Hope agric food production that we have today. There's a lot of difference because in the past we have been crying for mechanization because of our population that we be having in Nigeria. That without mechanization, we keep on crying foul that food production is very low or the food prices is very high. And with the state governments now trying to empower most of the local governments, a lot needs to be done to really give them a total control of their states, especially by releasing the local government's funds to them to be able to plan and manage and be able to employ the youth in their local governments. So with what the state governors are really doing now, I think there's a lot of more improvement, especially when the federal government, through our able president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, said that all state governors should go back to the land and be able to feed their own people and employ their own people. So it's like a big challenge, and you can see all over the states, especially in the north, in the Niger, in the Castina, Jigawa, where all of them are really tapping into the mechanization by buying, especially in the north. By buying tractors and implement and inputs to their gear for the food security in the country. I believe in another 5 years, you can take anything away from Nigeria, but you can never take away our land because we have the best arable land in Nigeria. So I believe our government, through the state governments who have the sole control of all the lands, because you remember the Land Use Act of 1970 give the power to the state governors to give the land to anyone that they want. So I don't want this act to be misused, especially now that we have a president that wants the state governors to release the lands to farmers. And not only just releasing the farmland, what about title to the land so that they can use the title like CFO or consent to move to the bank and be able to get low interest rate from the banks or from the central bank or from the Bank of Agriculture that is being revitalized now. So I believe we're on the right track through the governors, moving down to the local government, because if you look at it, there's not much that could be done in the state level by the local governments. So we just need to keep on hammering on the state governors to really empower and release the funds to the local government to be able to improve on their farm settlements. Because without the farm settlements, we're just wasting our time. Because with the farm settlements, you see some of these youth, women, they come together like a society where there's going to be light, and that is why I totally agree with your agrivoltaics to boost the food security and energy. That's why I say in any farm settlement, we need the energy, we need light because of the processing and production that we have. And by so doing, it's going to increase our value chain. Because without the value chain, we are just wasting our time. We don't need to be producing and consuming. We need to add value by production into our farm system.
Thank you very much, Prince Wale. And I like how you have highlighted from the government what they should do, from the state governors what they should do, and even, you know, the farmers to what they should do or what the possibility is. But I think that one of the restrictions where people have clamored for is this local government or but chairmen have, you know, said that that's why they have had limitations in that. Economy is something that we have been seeing on the headlines. You know, put is backing on local government, full autonomy of the local government. So if they have been given, or if they give them full autonomy and funding, what's that one thing you think you would recommend to each local government to implement immediately to boost food production? I remember very well that the UK opened its borders for us to be able to export things like ginger, like cashew, like garlic. But this is also something that we currently have scarcity for in Nigeria. And I mentioned to somebody that this opening that we see as a good maybe a good investment or a good way to do business, it's still bringing the loss back to Nigeria. If something is scarce in Nigeria, we're still trying to, because of some gains, some extra money, we're now trying to export these things. We start to cause us to lack in that thing. So what's that one thing that you think that you recommend to any LGA or each LGA to implement immediately to boost our food production?
That's for me, right?
That's for Prince Wale.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yes, as I said, once the power and the autonomy is given to the local government, there's a lot to be done. And as I said, all the power of allocation of land lies in the hands of the governors. So if the governors can be releasing the land to the local governments, I believe half of the problem is solved. But without land, there's nothing we can do. So once the land is given to them, and at the same time, if they were given the autonomy by collecting their own allocation directly, they'll be able to buy some of these tractors, bulldozers themselves, and the implements and other inputs also. And now the information has to go down to the citizens that they can come to the local government for the improvement on their agricultural sector. Especially we have a lot of farmers now that are really languishing their farm. Either they don't even know how to go and get this input, or they don't have the money to get the fertilizers, or how they can approach the bank to get the loan. But now that the federal government have just announced the new MD for the Bank of Agriculture, but this is the first step for any farmers to go into through the Bank of Agriculture to go and get money for the clearing of their lands, for seeds, for seedlings, and from there, then once they started producing, then they can move down to the Bank of Industries. Maybe they wanted to add value to what they are doing, like processing of some of their farm produce. And by so doing, once you process, it's this end use that we can send to the abroad, to the Europe or to the American for exporting. As you say, yes, the UK have already opened their door for us to do some of these export, but are we really satisfied? Is our export really meeting the international standard? Apart from this standard organization we have and the NAFTA we have, they still have a lot to do to make sure that what we're exporting, we will be able to meet the international standard. So we will not be like in the olden days. And most of the government policy is always a problem. I remember some of my friends, when they wanted to export some of their produce, they always have problem with the NACO, which is where they certify most of these produce to be exported abroad. And sometimes it stays too long. Something that's supposed to go out within 7 days might take like months. So most of these produce we started getting spoiled before you even get to the cargo plane. So by the time you get to the other side, they always reject it. So all this we have to be careful, and especially applying some of the chemicals that we use to preserve our foodstuff. It needs to be controlled. It needs to be monitored so that there won't be not too much of these chemicals in some of the foodstuff that we're exporting. So all these things they expect once we get to the other side.
Thank you very much, Prince Wale. Bamidele, over to you. As opposed to what Prince Wale has said, do you think that the local government should be encouraged to run, agricultural cooperatives? He mentioned that citizens should be able to walk into the local government, to start asking for support in that sense. So do you think that the local government should be encouraged to run agricultural cooperatives or maybe public-private partnerships?
Both of them, cooperative, public-private partnership. Cooperative because that will both work together. Public-private partnership who have mastered the trade and doing it very well. And when government partner with them, they can make the government to move faster and scale faster because they are already in it. So if there's someone already in a particular line of agriculture, you are partnering with them so that you won't have to start from the beginning, just leveraging on their experience and expand the scope of what they are doing and that can help to boost the volume of production in the state. But also cooperative working together for me make a lot of sense, because that will help to spread the wealth across, so that whatever government is doing it through the cooperative, and that will reach many people in the cooperative, particularly farm input, like the other speaker said, access to land, implement, and all that are required for them to be able to do the farming. But the fact that it's a local government, it's a government, just like federal government, just like state government. So why can't you do that? You should be able to do that. In fact, you are closer to the people to engage them more and be able to do that. So they should do that definitely.
Thank you very much, Bamilele. He also mentioned, Prince Wale also mentioned international standards, and that got me wondering. A lot of times when I send something over to my sister, I'm not concerned about what it's like. It's just for market to packaging to sending out, without considering if it stays 7 days, how is it going to be? Is this still going to be viable for edible in that sense? So you work very closely with international markets and agricultural exporters. How do you think that, local governments can make their agricultural products export ready? That international standard that is required of us. How do you think that the local governments can make it happen?
Capacity building. Majority of farm produce that have issues because of lack of understanding. If you look at the data of rejected agro-commodity from Nigeria, salmonella is a major cause of rejection. Pesticide residue is a major cause of rejection. The presence of aflatoxin is a major cause of rejection. Now, these are preventable issues in agro-commodities. Because they are preventable issues in agro-commodities, if the farmers are well educated in this regard, then they will be able to fix it. So it's a challenge for Nigeria, no doubt, but it's not an unsurmountable challenge. It's just that the farmer that is farming does not understand the fact that, look, if I'm adding pesticide to my product, there's a level of pesticide I need to add. I can't just keep pouring. Nigerian beans was banned in Europe because of diclofos, sniper that we put. And we put such a large volume that is making it to become a poison for human beings, not more food for human beings. So education and enforcement, such that when the good arrive at the port, the bad quality product is not allowed to go, will help us reduce and solve that problem.
So how do you, or what kind of policies are we talking about? What kind of policy?
Poison for human beings, not more food for human beings. So education and enforcement, such that when
governments need, to disinformation out there, where Google might be your friend someday, the next day it probably isn't, and there's not even access to the internet in a lot of local government areas. So in the terms of policy framework, what kind of capacity and policy framework do you think that these local governments need, especially when it comes to attracting investment into the rural communities?
So here is the model we have proposed to government in the past. So a local government identify, this is the commodity available in my state, and I want to produce it either for sale locally or for export. Identify a major producer of that product already, who is farming it. Sorry, identify a major trader of that commodity, who is currently trading both locally and abroad. Then they form an SPV with that particular trader, and then form cooperative across the different parts of the local government where that thing is farmed. Educate them on how to go about it. Provide seedling to them, and give them guarantee to purchase this product from them whenever they finish harvest. And when they are harvesting, they've agreed on price. So government gave them the seedling, gave them the farm input, probably provide the land. And when the product is ready, they bring it to a location where this private sector partner of the government can dry, process, either for local sale or for export sale. But the people are giving guarantee. If we give you this land, give you this seedling, give you this support, and you produce this product, this is how much we are going to buy from you. So they already know how much they will make by virtue of working with the government. So in this arrangement, you notice two things. The state government will make money, revenue. The local government rather will make money, revenue. They will create jobs. What are the two major challenges of any government? Making money to be able to do the work. You notice two things. The state government rather will make money, revenue. they will create jobs. What are the two major? And this investment to be able to empower more and more farmers and generate good that will help to be able to create revenue and job employment in the local government.
Thank you very much, Bamidele. I like how direct your recommendations are. But now I want to go over to Prince Wale. Could you tell us what Ogun State is doing differently about agriculture and how other residents of Ogun State can tap into this innovation?
Well, you have to understand that Ogun State is one of the industrial hub of the state now. Even surpassing the factories in Lagos State. If you look at the whole area of Ibadan, Lagos-Ibadan Express Road, you see a lot of industries coming down from all over the country down to Ogun State. And what Ogun State are doing different is what I just said, that at least they are trying to encourage youth to come into the agricultural sector through the innovations. Because recently, the Minister for Innovations was around to even encourage and advise some of the farmers by giving them a small tablet so that they can be able to monitor what they are doing in the farms. So the governor and the Minister of Innovation was there to really encourage and advise some of the farmers by giving them encourage the farmers that you have to understand that agriculture is really divided into so many sectors. Farm to produce, or you buy the produce from the farmer, then you add value, which is what we call value additions. Then some people can even be commodity traders by buying some of this produce from the farmers and sell the produce by maybe exporting some of this produce out. And what the Ogun State government are doing now is to open the road to the rural areas, because transportation is a key when you wanted to really boost the agricultural sector of a state, because you have to understand that storage facilities where the farmers are really helping themselves through the post-harvest loss is very important. So by building some of these storage facilities all over the state, and with the farm settlement that we have in Ogun State now, the Ogun State governor, through our able governor, Prince Abiodun, is really making sure that we have storage facilities in some of the states, and some of these farmers can even store some of their produce into it. So, and there's something we call warehousing ticketing. If you look at what is happening in Ogun State now with the cargo international airport we have, this is part of this is part of the visions of the governor to be able to export some of this farm produce out of the state. So instead of going to Lagos to go through the NACO, you can do that one directly through the Gateway Airport at Iperu right here. So it's a very good development. By the time it's opened another couple of months by Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And you have to understand that this place couple of months by Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. At the airport to even see for himself what of this. So this one alone really is going to boost the agricultural sector of the state by simply exporting what you have right from Ogun State instead of going to Lagos. And at the same time, the governor is really improving so many farmlands. And by so doing, is erecting so many rural areas to improve on their transportation by creating accessibility into some of these rural farmers. So to me, the Ogun State governor is really trying his best to make sure that agriculture security is being boosted in the state. And you have to remember recently also that he was able to initiate some of this Amotekun to curb away most of the headers that disturb farmers. It have really reduced in Ogun State. Now, hardly you can hear that they kidnap any farmers or they just send their cow into some of these farm settlements to eat their farm. All this is being reduced through the security channel that the government is able to put on the land.
Thank you very much, Prince Wale. Let's take a breather, and of course, we'll be right back. Still going deeper into this conversation and how we can, as Nigerians, be a part of this new innovation. So please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back shortly. Conversation and how of this new innovation. So please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back shortly.
Nigeria, by extension Africa, battles a growing youthful population and with little or no meaningful engagement lives a great wealth, both in people and material. Our focus on ways remains driving conversations that affects us all. Topics in the news, social concerns, politics, leadership, governance, empowerment, resource management, conflict management, finance, SME sustainability, technological innovation, food security, health, education, brain drain, our well-being, citizenship, and much more. Our goal is to continuously drive these conversations, keep them burning at the table to effect a positive change, both for our nation and continent. Ways, what are you saying, has a secret ingredient that completes the conversation every single episode, and that ingredient is you. Our past conversations shaped our yesterday. To shape our tomorrow, we must keep talking. So, I want to hear you. Be a part of our live conversations Mondays through Fridays. And let's all have our say.
Welcome back to the show. You are still watching Politics Uncensored. And of course, we're talking about food security and how we can assess this through local government-led agriculture. And we have Prince Wale and Bamidele here. Before I go straight into hearing Bamidile's insights, I want to ask Prince Wale, I've watched some of your interviews and read some things about you, and I've seen how you've been very vocal about corruption, especially in the food system. Do you think that local governments are prepared, I mean structurally and ethically, to drive food security, or are we 30, 50 steps far away from attaining this?
No, I don't think so. I think the local government chairman, the way, I believe the people of the local government chose them. They voted for them, so they have confidence in them. So I see no reason why they cannot perform. Especially agriculture is supposed to be the main concern of every local government chairman, because the agricultural sector is one that produces a lot of food. Not only that, what about the employment? Because if you are able to employ some of your people in your local governments, crime is going to be reduced. All these area boards will have something to do. It's going to increase the IGR of the local government, and they shouldn't be spoon-feeding from the state government. That is why the federal government, through the initiative of the New Hope Food Security, that every local government should be empowered. And how do you empower them? Is by releasing their autonomy allocations to them. Then the state can supervise them. Even in the early stage, it might be very rough, so some of them have not been able to handle such money or such assignment. But with the state, then the state can supervise them, even assignment. But with the state inspections and to really see what they are doing, I believe areas. It's through the money they're able to generate from the agricultural produce, through the IGR, they should be able to improve on the local government, local rural areas. Gone are the days that the state have to be knowing what is going on in the streets. It's the job of the local government to see that there's borehole, there's water, there's light, there's roads in their vicinity. So I see no reason why the local government should not be able to do it. Even with the state can even get the guidelines on what to do and give them maybe some kind of leeway that if you are able to produce this, so will be coming to the local government for the improvement. And with the timetable that they are having, I believe we should be able to get there. Every local government should be able to feed their citizens, and it's even going to relieve the state government. That way, no citizen should be able to say they are going to the state capital. Let them go to the local government capitals. Let them go to their local government chairman and hold them accountable that the money that has been released to you, I think 40% of it should be going into agriculture. Once all the equipments are there and the produce are there, the local government should be able to feed their citizens.
Okay, thank you very much. Bamidele, can I hear your insight on this same question? How do you think that the local governments are prepared structurally and ethically to start to drive food security initiatives?
Yes, I think they are. It's just to be, the governor needs to creatively create competition among the local government. Creatively create competition. Such that
I would like to know how so. Yes, thank you.
Yes, local government that do well, they get more money in addition to what they are getting from federal government. Giving them support. When the government can see this local government is doing well, it's able to generate more. Because at the end of the day, whatever local government produce, is the state that produces it, so it becomes part of the GDP of the state. So supporting them, so giving them the mandate on what they need to do, and then as they see the result, anybody doing well is supported. They are giving them more funding, giving all the necessary support to let them do more and create competition, giving award to local government chairmen, whatever it is that will stimulate competition among local government, so they don't think it's an opportunity to just steal the money, but opportunity for them to be able to really add value at that level. Because if the government do it, the government will not have to worry so much because the state government is carrying so many weight that local government should be able to be carrying. If the government autonomy allow them to have their fund right now, and they were able to, number one, train on what to do, given direction. The governor provide leadership on where to go and what they need to do to, number one, train on what to do, given direction and what they need to do. They decide on which of the products they want to leverage on in their local government, and they can begin to get maybe a consultant that will come and measure the scale so they can see government contribute this. At the end of the day, everybody wants to sit up because nobody wants to be in the bad book of the governor.
Absolutely. Let's look at data and the issue with logistics. I think one of the biggest issues that we currently have in Nigeria, alongside a lot of security challenges, is the fact that food has become really high, and then we've had where something that was in abundance before became very low. And I'll talk specifically about Gary. Gary used to be the cheapest, if I would say, before. But now you start to see Gary competing with other foods, and it's almost like even poor man cannot be poor in peace anymore. So in your work, how do you think, or have you seen data where either logistics or how we can enhance this issue of food security, in what way, and particularly talking directly to the local government chairman at this point?
Basically, identify what is the local government have as an advantage. Whatever you have as an advantage should be the focus. What are the challenges? We need extension workers. What are the challenges? We need farmland. What are the challenges? The farm needs to be cleared. What are the challenges? We need improved seedling. What are the challenges? We need irrigation. Identify the challenges, fix the challenges. fix the challenges. If the challenges are fixed, we will be able to grow production at that level, because actually that is the place to do the production at the local government level, because local government is the closest, that's where the land are, and be able to ensure that the government make available to them whatever land that is required for them to be able to do what they need to do. But all the challenges should be identified. They are peculiar from local government to local government. Road access also is very important. Cold storage facility is also critical to be able to evacuate those products. Identify the challenges and fix the challenges, and create competition among the local government to ensure that whoever is producing more get more incentive from the state government.
Many things said here are one of the recommendations that I even though have an opposing statement to, but mandatory, if we look at somewhere like Benue, which we call the food basket of the nation, we are having very high risk security issues there, where lives and a lot of things are being lost. How do we manage abandoned farmlands in those areas? How do we start to manage security in those areas? How do we even start to encourage farmers to start even going back to their farmlands to start planting again? I would like Prince Wale to answer, and then of course Bamidele can give his insight on this question.
Yes, you are right. The insecurity we have all over the country now, I think the president are up to the task by sending some of these military forces to the place, Yes, of the nation. We cannot even joke where predominantly everybody there are farmers. And what is really happening there, if you see what is really trending, it's not about the communal clashes. Because if you look at the latest arrest that they're having, even in Anambra State, even the governor said that the people that we think are kidnappers are our own citizens. The same thing in the Benue State. So the governor have a lot to do to call all the community they have and say, why can't you be our brother's keeper? Why all these fightings? It's not getting us to anywhere. It's affecting the only thing that we all know to be in the state, which is the food security. We are no more the food basket of the nation. What is happening? So everything should not be about the federal government, because this is where we are mixing it up. What about the state governments? What about the local government? Because where these people strike is mostly in the local governments, before you can call the state, before you can even call the federal government. So the local governments have a lot to do with this one. And I always think about our research and development in the country have really gone down. There's no way we could get the best seedling. There's no way we could have the best fertilizer if you don't do research and development to know what kind of seed that will go into our soil and what kind of fertilizer that is going to go with it. Gone are the days that we used to have universities doing the research and development on the latest seedling that we can use to give us a maximum production. So research and development, the federal government really need to go into rate so that we can get more yield for our sweat. And at the same time, the logistics you are talking about, yes, the security is very important. Without the security, there won't be no food security. And once the state is not secure, it's going to be very difficult for farmers to go into the farm. And once the headers and the farmers' clashes are still there, we still be having low production of our farm produce. So I think this is what the federal government is really challenging all the state government to go back to their state, to really call all the local government chairmen also to the order. And at the same time, as my colleague have said over there, road accessibility is very important. These are rural areas. Most of our rural roads are not at home. Even the main road are even having challenges, not to talk of the rural area. So this is where the local government chairmen really need to focus in order to bring development and to bring development into their local governments.
Of course, Bamidele, I want to hear your insight before I give my own conclusion.
The government need to fix the issue of security on the farmland, and that's very, very important. It's a big challenge. Of course, it was part of what was inherited by this government. So it's not like it's just starting, it's been on for a while, but we need to fix it. I know it's a sensitive issue. I've seen a number of state governors take on this issue of ranching, and we are seeing some results already from what is being done. So maybe this can be a model branching, and we are seeing some results already. A model to help the used to taking this cow from place to place. There's a lot of reorientation that needs to go on to ensure that they begin to understand why in modern times they can't be going on the road up and down. They are better off putting this cattle in one location, and this is actually better for the cattle to grow and be able to produce a lot of milk, and they can make more return from it. So that would take a lot of education, but it must be fixed, because we can't be talking about food security where people are not secure on the farm. I know people that have abandoned their farms, that have abandoned their farm in front of the country. Why did they abandon their farm? They abandoned their farm because they were attacked, or people in their community were attacked, and they had to leave, and that is not really good for the economy, particularly as far as this is concerned. And I discovered something. I was at a training program with its own local government, because they've been able to fix that problem. I believe the problem can be fixed. Just have to find a creative way for it to be fixed in such a manner that both parties at the end of the day have a win-win situation. Not that someone win and the other lose, but both parties have win-win situation, so that we can be able to solve this food crisis and food security problem that is being faced in the country.
Thank you very much, Bamidele. I think one thing that we've discussed over and over on this show is the issue of insecurity. And now we have these kind of conversations for people to be able to understand that it's beyond just security of human lives. It's also that our food is at stake, people is at stake, our animals are at stake at this point. I remember I saw a story where they said about 30 armed gunmen went into a community, packed food, tried to took about 300 cows, back with them. And I'm wondering, how did this number of people go into a community to take food and resources and go back into their hiding? And I will not call this hiding in that sense, because I'm sure that within that locality, they can't be able to point to where they have made their base. But our security issue is very complex, and it brings me to wonder how much more can the president from Abuja do if we don't start to make security our concern locally. I've seen a lot of security agencies very concerned to start to bring some of these issues to life and start to identify the kind of issues or the kind of recommendations that they are giving the government and the state governors. But I can say one thing for sure. Over the last 4 weeks, we had someone give us a situation report still on the show about what's really happening in Benue State. And while he claimed that security operatives were actually present in Benue in some of these communities, they were acting more as observers rather than efforts to bring peace to that. Why that is very arguable, we saw over time we still had many other attacks after that. So this is sort of me telling the president that while you have made statements, you have deployed people, it's still very important that there is follow-up. One of the issues that we have is implementation. One of the issues that we have is actually sustainability. When we start something, we'll always have to learn to finish or get to a point where it really matters the most. But as we wrap up today's conversation, I know that one thing is very clear. Food security isn't just about planting maize or buying fertilizers. It's more about our political will, and it's all about empowering local authorities, not just to govern, but to grow. If local governments are the closest to the people, shouldn't they also be the closest to the soil that feeds them? Our security should be taken at most priority, and our local governments should also be the ones that are protecting our food systems, investing in farmers, and making sure that no child in their community sleeps on an empty stomach. Thank you so much to our guest, Bamidele, and of course, Prince Wale, for joining this conversation and highlighting and also recommending for the government and even Nigerians at large. And I know that Nigeria cannot win this war against hunger from Abuja alone. It has to be fought and won in every state in Nigeria. So to our leaders at the grassroots, the seeds of the change are definitely in your hands. And of course, to our citizens watching, maybe it's time we start holding our local governments and councils, not just for boreholes and town halls, but for food on our plates. Well, until next time, this is Politics Uncensored. Stay aware, stay involved. Before I go, do ensure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. We'll see you again on Friday, and this is where I say bye-bye.